into Game 4, and we've got a lot more matches coming. This is a best of 9, and it's only 2-1 right now in favor of Gravity. So one of these teams does have to get to 5 wins in order to claim the prize, and we haven't talked about the prize at all. Oh my gosh!
Oh, the
So
prize.
if you've been following StarCraft 2 Community Team League, then you know that our sponsors are DOS Keyboard. If you are looking at the screen, then you know that our sponsors are DOS Keyboard, and they have been kind enough to put up 5 keyboards to the winning team, to be distributed as the team desires. So that's what is on the line right now. That's what these players are playing for, is these keyboards. So it's all here. It's all on the line. Oh, I almost forgot, and the trophy, the StarCraft 2 Community Team League
the
Season
trophy.
1
Let's
trophy.
be serious.
Hey,
The
that
trophy is a
trophy's pretty
bigger
cool.
deal than the keyboards.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I don't know how I forgot about that.
You know how much
And
time
I
was
think that
put into that trophy?
yeah, I think we're actually going to have an award ceremony too, where the ceremonial trophy will be given through webcam to our.
The virtual handoff, so to speak.
That's right, and then the eventual UPS handoff.
Yep.
Uh,
Because UPS
So it looks
does
like-
logistics.
It looks like the map that we'll be going on is Whirlwind LE, and it's going to be Fiasco versus Grave. Grave is actually a Polish player, I believe, is what I was just told.
Yeah, we do apologize about the breaks here. They've been a little offset because we are running a delay. I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to work, but clearly we need to go to break, wait 60 seconds, and then run the ad. Because I was asking and talking to Troy about it over the break and asking him if that's what was happening, and he confirmed. So we know that now.
All right, good to know. I was trying to gauge that with some of our other admins, but it looks like it was just placed at a time that didn't appear to be cutting us off.
Yeah, we asked last time, and someone said it looked perfect. So we're like, great.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I think that it just worked out that it had happened during a lull in between our talking, because I've got the stream open and it looks like the ad was running before we had introduced the ad. So
Listen, Troy, that wingnut beard.
yeah,
I forgot my shaver at work.
what was it at work for? Are you using it to like stir your coffee or
No,
something?
I forget to shave and don't have time to do it in the morning sometimes, so I just stick it in my pocket, take it with me, and then I didn't end up doing it because it was a busy day, and then left it there. So, alas,
Oopsies.
you get to see Bear Wing. But in the upper right-hand corner, it is going to be wearing the teal shorts, my favorite color in this game. From ESC, it is Grave.
And in the top left-hand corner, winning 2 games now for Team Gravity, it is Fiasco.
Fiasco doing great play. You know, I almost thought that last game, Fiasco was making up for the game on Sunday, where pretty much the same play was put on him, and he lost, in my opinion, because he had the Stalker stuck in his buildings.
That was pretty terrible.
That was awful. But he was defended against Oracles, let me tell you what.
Static defense.
Static Stalker
That's
defense.
much more expensive than traditional static defense.
A little bit, depending on how you weigh it. 25 more overall.
Oh, and some of that's gas, too.
Yeah, 125 minerals, 50 gas. But nonetheless, that was some craziness that happened last week. So check out those VODs at youtube.com/wingnutStarcraft. You can see how Gravity made their way to this event, covering all odds. It was quite the day.
Yeah, and based on the caster predictions, we were way off as to who we thought was
yeah, we
actually
might as
going
well
to
have
be
not
winning.
even made predictions.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but Gravity beating the odds. And there was a lot of controversy within the league. If you've been following some of the Reddit posts or the chat, Young Money, Cash Money Billionaires was kind of a controversial team, as they did consist of a lot of players who are paid professionally to play, and it was more of like a for fun league. So there's been a lot of dialogue about that, but ultimately they did not come out on top, which was surprising to a lot of folks.
It's surprising, but I mean, the games that brought them here were just absolutely insane. As I said at the time, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it till I die, those are 2 of the best games of StarCraft I've ever seen in my life. Highly recommend you check them out. Game 6 and Game 8, was it? Pretty darn good, but definitely check out all of them. But it looks like Fiasco is going to be scouting the opposite direction. He needs to going to the lower left instead of the upper right. This is a 4-player map with random spawns, so you have no way to know. So that is a a factor in any cheesery you might do. It's pretty hard to do any cannon rushing or proxy gating or anything like that, because you just don't know by the time you find where your opponent is, unless you're really, really lucky.
Absolutely.
So we're going to see the same kind of cutthroat play here that we did last time. It looks like gearing up to be something like that. There's a sentry coming out for Grave, which is definitely different from last time. It's hard to be aggressive with a sentry.
It definitely is. And looks like there's a little bit of talk about chat or lag from Fiasco. Grave saying that he's not. So Fiasco is putting down a Stargate, though.
Aha, yes. I predict we are going to see oracles this time, and if for no other reason, then I just want to see oracles. I love how oracles play out in PvP. They're really strong. I mean, I don't think Void Rays are as good as they are against Zerg and even Terran sometimes, even though I think oracles are really strong against Terran. But I mean, it's one of those things where if you get an oracle and your opponent doesn't prepare for it, they're just dead.
Yeah. And hopefully we may or may not see that. It's not that Stargate will be wrapping up, but the Mothership Core is going. Oh, it looks like it's pulling back now for Grave.
Quite a bit of yeah, it looks like it is going to be that oracle. I was going to say he did have the money for a Void Ray, so but the Mothership Core for Grave pulling back now. I thought he was going to make his way over, but it is a little late, so there are stalkers out, and but you know, Fiasco doesn't have a Mothership Core yet.
He does not, and I'm not sure if he plans to get one either. It doesn't look like he's going that route just yet, but Grave is getting down that Nexus, so Fiasco's really got to get a lot done with this Oracle in order to even up the playing field.
That was funny. I just did the buttons to follow the Oracle and selected those destructible debris at the bottom of the ramp, so the camera went yoink. But we are following this Oracle into Graves' base. We'll see what he can do against. Gosh, there's no defense here against this Oracle. It is all probes all the time. He does. Yeah. Oh, and he's moving in with two stalkers at the natural, pulling everything away. Oh, yep. That's wide open.
This Oracle is going to be able to get lots of kills. 4, 5, 6. Juicy probe kills.
Stalker gets warped in, but man, it's going to delay a lot of mining, kill a lot of probes. So this is really putting Fiasco ahead so far.
And those stalkers still are at the base of the ramp, but it doesn't look like they're going to be trying to get any more hits off on that natural just yet.
Yeah, now he's starting to make Void Rays, which is probably smart, as long as you can keep 1 to 2 oracles on the field, the threat is always there. Void Rays are the more meaty unit. One is out, another in production, so he's going to be definitely going. Fiasco's got the blood flowing through his veins today. He just wants these games over with.
Yeah, it would appear that way, and he's playing pretty aggressively. Oracle goes back in, gets a couple more kills, but is ultimately chased out. He's going to have to be careful with that if he wants to end up keeping it. But now moving in with the Void Ray and the Stalkers, Photon Overcharge does go down on that natural, and there is an army there to deal with it as well, so he's forced out. Going to have to build some more stuff to be able to push on that.
He's just making Grave keep his units split. I mean, there's 3 Stalkers here in the main, as well as 2 Stalkers and the duration, or the rest of his army down here. So, I mean, he can't really think about joining them up, because as soon as he moves down here to the natural, the Oracle comes in. As soon as he moves up to the main, the rest of the army goes in, and the rest of the army is getting quite big.
Yeah, but Fiasco's going to have to be careful, as Grave does have a probe right in the main and is seeing everything that's going on, and also has a pylon in the natural location, so he's going to be able to warp in there should he choose, and there is no home defense here.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Graves' pylon at Fiasco's expansion. If
yes.
So, that is going to be nasty, because as soon as Fiasco moves in and he defends, he can insta-warp in. But this natural is not going to be lasting very long here for Grave.
And sure enough, 3 Zealots are warped in for Grave at the base of Fiasco's main. He does warp in a single Stalker, so with the right micro, he'd be able to deal with this, but it doesn't look like he's paying attention to it.
Oh man, he lost 2 sentries there, Gallegation. That was awful. I mean, that's what he needed to keep this army out, because now the Void Rays are just dealing all that damage to the Stalkers, and Fiasco's really making a good push here. There are 3 Zealots in Fiasco's main, though, but the probes alone taking those out.
Took 1 out. There is a Stalker there, but it is getting some hits off, and a few more Zealots are being warped in now for Fiasco. Everything's entering the fray, and but at the same time, Grave is able to do a lot of damage because of the split attention. Fiasco still has 4 Stalkers there, though, and it's looking very tenuous for both players at the
Yeah,
moment.
Fiasco really pushing in here, and Grave put down that Robo Bay, and he wasn't even able to use it. He hasn't gotten a single unit out of it, and it looks like the control of Grave just is just failing him a bit right now, as he did miscontrol those stalkers a bit. He sent the probes in, and then the stalkers just kind of sat there for a second or two, which was enough to get enough damage in on another one to kill it. But Zealots of Fiasco are gonna find the pylon here.
Yeah, but that probe is still in the bottom of the main for Graves, so he could put down another pylon at his leisure.
Yeah, it looks like there is a lone sentry back, and Grave is just going to get in here to see what he can do, but he's really on the back foot now. If you look at the units lost, there's 14 probes killed for Fiasco. So he's taken out a lot of probes of Grave to the 8 of Grave, which was done mainly just by those Zealots.
But the probe count is about even, and the units lost, or the resources lost, is fairly even as well. So I don't know that either player really has a strong advantage at this point.
And now the advantage, I suppose, or depending how you look at it, is Grave is now taking out the proxy pylon of Fiasco, and Fiasco's main army is pulled back to his base.
But he is crossing the map. There is an Oracle there trying to get a few more shots. A single Stalker there. And Fiasco may lose this if he's not careful. He's got to start moving it.
Oh,
but
he just doesn't even care. He's just...
Ooh.
Oh, is he going to get it? He gets it out. Oh my gosh, he just didn't even care. He was just target firing down probes, wanted to kill as many probes as he could. Now it's 21 probes killed by Fiasco.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was a great play, too. Once he saw that army attacking his pylon, he's just like, well, nothing in the main, I bet.
Yeah, and I mean, he was right. He did leave a single Stalker behind, but it wasn't able to get the damage off that it needed to be able to protect all those probes. And now another big army by Fiasco is moving into the natural, not seeing a whole lot going on, but that probe for Grave is still running around, going to put down another pylon to be able to warp in through.
Yeah, and Fiasco's production was like at 0 there for a hot minute, and now just going back to producing probes and making a pylon. But Grave now finally getting out an Immortal. He's just waiting on the economy for that, and that Immortal is going to be huge against these Stalkers, because this is a largely Stalker force, but there are them Void Rays.
There are indeed. Graves' probe is running around a little bit more. Didn't actually put down that pylon after all. Is looking for a safer location, I'd bet, as that Nexus 4 Fiasco is going down now, deciding that it's time to expand after all this aggression at the 13-minute mark.
Yeah, again, I think he sensed that the aggression was pulling back, as you said, and Grave putting down a pylon at the third base of Fiasco now, so he will still have warp-in potential, as will Fiasco, because there's a second pylon in here that Grave does not yet know about. I'm pretty sure if he did, he'd be out killing it, but no, he does not. He has not gone up in that region yet, but some Mothership Core looks like it's going to go right over top of it.
And that probe for Grave does finally get taken out, but that, as we said, there is that pylon, does warp in 2 sentries.
So the proxy warp-in potential for Fiasco now is severely limited, as there's just now another pylon going down. That's going to be taken out by these Stalkers. But, big miscontrol here, as he's going to lose this Immortal.
And suddenly this is looking great for Fiasco. He's going to push in with this. The 2 sentries were going to try and come up from behind that army to get some force fields from the backside to prevent retreat, but there's nothing there to do the damage anymore, so it's going to retreat.
You know what makes me laugh is sometimes people say Protoss OP, but they say it in a PvP. And GG.
And there's the GG. So Fiasco taking 3 games now.
Yeah, I mean, this has been really impressive. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, what can they do to take him down? I mean, they've got to get somebody out there who can take care of him. As it's 3-1, and only 2 more games away for Gravity, and they will clean up the final prize here.
Yeah, if I was to guess, I would say they either send out a Zerg or they send out Showtime, if he's available. I'm not sure if he's going to be available today, but if he is, I would say this is the time Showtime's going to come out, because Showtime's PvP is really good. But also a really good Zerg can, Zerg I think is still really strong against Protoss. We did have 1 PvZ today, and it seemed pretty commanding, but I still think that is the case.
Well, yeah, and as we were mentioning beforehand, that their roster is only Protoss and Zerg. There are no Terrans. So obviously they have to send out either a Protoss or a Zerg, and neither one has been able to do the job so far against Fiasco.
Yep. So we will see. We'll see who the next players are going to be, who they're going to send out against Fiasco, but we are going to take a 60-second break here to pay the bills.